My Friendly Neighborhood is a survival and mascot horror game that was released to the public on July 18th of this year. This game was published by the legendary publishing team known as Dread XP, who has previously released such hits as Amanda the Adventurer and The Mortuary Assistant. However, the game itself was developed by John and Evan Szymanski. Now that last name might sound a little familiar to some of you all watching this, as their brother David Szymanski is notorious online for creating popular games like the Ocean Gate Simulator, while also making the hands-down worst take imaginable relating to Fallout New Vegas.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Anyways, even though the Szymanski brothers have each dabbled within game development in their own ways, mostly with pixel-themed releases throughout the years, My Friendly Neighborhood would be their most ambitious project by far. And with this game being technically a mascot horror game, I mean the concept is based off of a children's show turned evil, I was honestly fairly skeptical about this, as mascot horror and good games haven't really gone hand in hand for the past few years. But after playing just half of My Friendly Neighborhood, I was so drawn in and enjoyed every second playing this game. So let's just start from the story. The game starts off with a television playing of some lady in a talk show who was traumatized as she just found out about the whole NPC trend on TikTok. However, as the TV plays in the dead set of night, a nearby abandoned studio lot spontaneously regains power and causes all TVs to bug out and show what seems to be an ancient puppet show from the 60s. That's where you come into play. You are Gordon, a repairman who was sent over to the studio to disconnect the antenna and to shut off the studio. Apparently, you are a really shitty repairman though, as you're given a warning off the bat that if you dare leave this place without turning off the antenna, your job will be terminated. So determined to turn this off once and for all, you make your way to the office and notice that both the elevator going directly to the antenna is glued shut, and also a sock is trying to prevent you from shutting everything down. But after it vomits a key card for some reason, you're able to navigate through the rest of the studio to try to find a detour of some sort, all while killer puppets are trying to... How does a puppet kill a person? I mean, they don't have thumbs or working hands for that matter, and they don't have teeth to bite you. Do they just, like, throw you to the ground and hope you die from that? I don't know. Now I think that the story is fairly strong, but I gotta admit, I like the characters and dialogue even more. I genuinely think that this game is very funny and very comical. Even though this is a horror game and Gordon's life is on the line for every second that he's here, all the puppets and monsters just do not take anything seriously. From the introduction of the first puppet, Ricky the Sock, you can obviously tell that with his grandiose greeting to Gordon.
Raise the curtain! Bring up the lights! The neighborhood is coming to town!
Hello. I'm here to disconnect the antenna.
Television's heartbeat has returned. A spirit of cheer brightens every child's eye. The cry goes round the kindergarten class. The neighborhood! The neighborhood!
And then that same behavior of the puppet living in his own world is carried out with all the other puppets, as they'll just stand around, maybe wave their arms or swing at a random object, but then will always mutter some children's lessons that are twisted to their own violent tendencies.
Hey y'all, I'm Norman. I'm a
Hello?
really normal guy.
Is anyone there?
I just kinda show up, friendly face in the background. Sometimes I get some lines to recite too. Let me show you. Whoa! That was a great one. Wait. Let me do another. Get this through. No. Yay! I love that one.
And I think this works out so well given the fact that Gordon is really the only straight man in this game who will actually question, like, what the fuck is happening around here. With that said, I also think that the environment within My Friendly Neighborhood fits perfectly for this type of game. The colors, shapes, and sizes of everything look both silly and inviting, something that a child would love to be at if they were visiting a show that they adore watching. But then when you start to realize the danger hidden within here, the environment will start to get to your head. You'll notice that a lot of the back rooms or the storage areas are dimly lit, dark, and sometimes hold very dreadful colors. Then you'll notice immediately afterwards that there's basically no background music for most of your playthrough. The majority of what you hear is the demented sayings of these puppets, but if not that, all you hear is a buzzing of an electrical system or maybe a light flickering, nothing else. The only time there was music was within safe rooms, which I'll talk about shortly, but besides that, not much else. This was definitely the way to go when having this type of horror game. Even though everything is all cutesy at first glance, you gotta realize that this is still a horror game, and not everything will be sunshine and rainbows, in a show mostly about sunshine and rainbows. I also like how a lot of the rooms will tell their own mini-story, whether that's something simple as a dressing room that's actually a place to create this alphabet gun, or if you're down in a cave and you see a puppet being smothered by a bunch of rocks due to a previous cave-in, it's always a great idea to see what's around you. My absolute favorite was when you're down in this dark basement where you need to try to find a way to escape, and this one hallway that you go through early on in the basement has a seemingly dead puppet hunched over in the corner with a light barely flickering to briefly show it. However, the more you progress, you can see it move just a little bit until one moment where it's just gone. Oh wait, yeah, it's never gone for good, is it? Now, I've talked a lot about the overall looks and stories of My Friendly Neighborhood, which, like I said, I absolutely love. I think that the Szymanski brothers mixed horror and comedy so well with just the aesthetics alone, but how's the actual gameplay? The best way of comparing this gameplay would be a mix of maybe old school Resident Evil as well as like Resident Evil 7 or Village. Although you do have to go from room to room shooting up all the maniacal puppets, there are quite a few puzzles within here like how the old Resident Evil games shined at doing. But starting with the combat, everything is pretty straightforward. You start off with no weapon, but when you're introduced to the first hostile puppet, you're also introduced to the first basic pistol soon after as a way to defend yourself. Also, I love that cutscene with Ricky the puppet on how he's trying to like take back the gun, but he just like gives up immediately. Bro, this writing is just hilarious. Anyways, later on with playing, you will unlock a wrench for a melee weapon as a last resort, and then you will also discover better weapons like the shotgun. And can I take a second just to talk about how unique these guns look? Hey, except for the wrench. The wrench just looks like a wrench to a figure. But these other guns, they're apparently supposed to be like alphabet guns where the ammo is tiles of whatever letter stacking up to 26. And then when you fire, you'll have a gold-plated letter just shoot out of the gun and hit whatever puppet. Just something really cool about the guns that I love. You know, the Szymanski brothers could have easily just put in like an M9 to shoot the puppets, but they didn't. They created something that is so unique and so not seen in any other game. It's just so charming. Anyways, with these guns, you can subdue any puppet, but cannot flat out kill them. This means that if you were to go to any other room and come back, the puppet will be chilling back out there ready to attack again. That is, unless you have tape to keep it down. It works just like the fuel from Resident Evil 1, so once you tape a puppet, they're permanently down. But with there being very little tape around the map, you have to be mindful of what enemy you can keep down. And in regards to actually attacking the puppets, I'm gonna be honest, just taking on one of these isn't so bad. They'll take anywhere between 3 to 8 hits to take down depending on what weapon you're using, and will take a couple hits from them to bring you down. However, in a room with 4 or 5 or 6 puppets, you'll start to be in a lot more danger as the collective group will just sponge up the ammo, making things so much more stressful. And even though you do find a bunch of ammo as you scavenge, it's never enough when taking on so many at one time, so just be mindful of that. On top of that, just like Resident Evil, your inventory is limited to a certain amount of space, so you have to be mindful of what you pick up. Larger items will of course take up more of your inventory and vice versa, so picking up everything is typically not a good idea given the fact that some of these items found early on are used just way later into the game. To counteract this though, you have a safe room just like in Resident Evil. These safe rooms are kept away from any puppets, so you have a nice place to breathe and plan out your next run, but they're also a place to store items, heal, and save of course. To heal and save in these rooms, however, you need to find tokens that are spread throughout the map, so that's another thing that you have to be cautious about and not waste. Now with the combat pushed to the side, puzzles will be very apparent in this game. These puzzles will unlock new items for you to progress, or straight up will unlock new areas to go through. Some of these puzzles are fairly easy, like you having to find fuses all across the basement to open up this one door that'll get you some chain cutters, but the fuses are shown to you on the map, so it's very easy to navigate and to get them. But some of them are way harder, like you needing to find blocks around a puppet-filled neighborhood to spell out a certain word, all while a giant bird is scouting the area to try to kill you. Oh yeah, the bird, I almost forgot. So as you play the game, there are different areas that you have to explore the more you progress. Some examples are the office office area, the Studio 4 where the neighborhood is filmed, the basement where Studio 2 is filmed, the hotel, you name it. Each area will have a certain boss tied to it, like the neighborhood will have the rowing bird, and the basement will have what I can only guess is a hermit crab who roams different pipes like he's the Skinamarink from Amnesia the Bunker. Personally, I feel like this makes each area feel so much more unique compared to another area, as you have to adapt to whichever boss is present in that area near you. Especially since this is the type of game where backtracking to beginning areas to find more useful items, or even a new place to go, is apparent throughout the entirety of My Friendly Neighborhood. With that said, there's also different enemies that'll attack you the more you play, like there's this one puppet that'll multiply itself when being aggroed, as well as some smaller puppets that'll stick to walls and ceilings and floors and such, and will pounce at you when you get close to it. These enemies shake up this game drastically, and the bosses that you encounter are able to be fought later down the line. Unfortunately though, I have not gotten this far yet in the game, so once I do, which I will be picking this game back up as soon as I get done recording this video, I'll leave it in the comments or some shit, I don't know. Now, there were a few problems that I had with this game. Mostly it had to do with some polishing issues. I noticed a couple collision issues, mainly that had to do with like ragdoll physics of the puppets whenever you shoot or hit them. Usually the puppets will go flying backwards when they get subdued, which sometimes ended up as a problem for me. I also noticed some missing textures, mainly with the background of the game, that pulled me out of immersion almost immediately. And then the strangest one, I noticed that the hitbox for enemies, particularly when using the wrench to melee them, is very sporadic. At one moment, you can demolish the puppet while being across the room from them. Not literally, that's just hypothetical here. But at other moments, I felt like I couldn't land a hit. It made me want to use the wrench a lot less, as I never knew if I could just safely take down the enemy or get hit 3 times in a row because I got too close to them. These problems aren't game breaking or made me want to turn it off, but they definitely need to be fixed. But that's basically My Friendly Neighborhood summed up for you all. I like this game. In fact, I like this game a lot. I think MFN has a lot of charm with this cheesy yet funny writing, mixed in with this cute yet demented style of the game. Is this worth the $30 as advertised on Steam? Sure, go check it out. Actually, go check it out right now. The first release sale is ending on July 25th, so go pick it out as soon as possible. You'll definitely get a good chuckle out of this, and then soon will yelp in fear, so I could not recommend this game enough. But what did you all think about My Friendly Neighborhood? Did you all enjoy this game? Are you all interested in it? Leave it in the comments below. But other than that, I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys like this video, maybe hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.